Welcome back, fake genetic freaks. Today I just have a not as much a lesson or some knowledge drop that I've been thinking about or like working through in my mind, cooking on and whatever. This is more of just a commentary on the video as a whole because I feel like this was a really interesting part of my power cycle or power phase or whatever. And these workouts are two really interesting ones in my opinion. So today, on this day, we had depth jumps. So I was a little fried from some activities I had done over the weekend. I woke up one day and it was pretty, I was just sore. I felt like my bones were sore, my tendons were sore. I was just doing a lot. My body wasn't used to doing regular workouts, and then doing a bunch of other stuff, hanging out with people, playing sports and other stuff. And so I was just pretty sore, and I told my friend, I was like, okay, we got to go a little easier today. We got to, in a way, have just a deload single session. And yeah, it turned out really well. Like, I went up to a max for depth jumps instead of doing 10 absolute maxes for two different approaches. And then we also did, I want to say like 60 to 80 yards of sprinting, which usually I'm used to doing 100. And so it was just quite a lot easier on my bones, my tendons, my ligaments, my muscles. And so it was one of those workouts where I came out and I felt pretty good afterwards. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have on the overall recap of that one. But yeah, so I kind of want to talk about depth jumps a little bit. So you can see it's probably 4+ feet separation in between these boxes. I felt like that was a really good spot to be. And going back, if you look at it, my friend, it looks like he would get into his situation, into his spot, and he would be so ready to jump, and then he'd bail at the last minute, even though you can clearly see that he got it pretty good. Also, sorry for the framing. The camera was kind of in the grass, which I just didn't think about. But yeah, going back to the depth jumps, it seems like the depth jump might be higher than the standing jump, and it's kind of interesting because obviously you would think, oh well, when you hit the ground you're putting so much more force into the ground because you're falling into it, but it's just another example of how tendons work. They're elastic, so when you put that force against it, it's kind of like a rubber band. It stretches and then it gets pushed real hard, and it helps you jump higher. And so my standing straight leg box jump was, I think, 33 or something. And then I just did a 35.5 inch. And so you can obviously see it's pretty significant difference. 2.5 inches for a vert can mean the difference in, any kind of dunk, getting a dunk. And whatnot. Maybe it's just a finish in a basketball game, or the winning shot, the jump shot at the buzzer beater. It doesn't really, the only 2 inches doesn't really explain how much of an impact that is on sports and athleticism. So yeah, the depth jumps I thought were really great. That was my first time doing or at least measuring those. So it was really exciting. And like I said, after that workout, I felt really good. After the 10 meters, we did cat and mouse type stuff or go off of somebody else's reaction. So I would turn around, and then we'd go at the same time, and I'd have to flip around and then finish the run. And yeah, it was pretty good overall. But it left me feeling super good for the current session that we're looking at right here, where I am doing sled pushes. I think I'm almost done with them. But I was like, well, okay, so I have one more week of the power. This is the last week of the power phase, and I'm planning on doing something pretty crazy on Saturday, which is definitely going to mess up the training quite a bit. And then next week, I'm also going to hit one of those crazy leg day, whatever, like hypertrophy things with one of my friends, one of my buddies. And so I was pretty much like, let's just get some tests done. Let's test out where we're at and see what's going on with strength and with explosiveness. And so I warmed up with the sled, and then I went into snatches. And today was a full snatch day. And usually when I do snatches, I keep my arms to the side just like I would for a hang clean, just a little farther than shoulder width apart. But I decided, since I'm doing heavy singles, why not work up to a single max? And I was like, my hang clean, my power clean, all that stuff has been so much higher than it used to be. So let me try and do a competition level snatch, where I get my arms out pretty far out to the side. It helps me not have to get the bar up as high. It's a lot harder to grab the bar, and it's a lot harder to stabilize. However, it's a lot less power that you need to put into it. So I went up to a heavy single, and I'll mention it when I get there, but it's pretty clear that I tried to go for my body weight, which is it was 184 when I lifted. I tried to go for 185. Just didn't hit it. I got the bar over what it needed to be, but I am just not flexible. I'm not coordinated enough to get into a full squat with the bar over my head with body weight. And so, I just didn't hit it. I got 175, which I was super, super proud of. I think the most I've ever done was 155 for like a double or triple. But yeah, it turned out super well. I was super excited. I really wanted that body weight squat, but I think that'll be in the store maybe for next power cycle, where I definitely think I can get it, but it all kind of depends on how diligent I am with my training. Also, that's an example of me switching to wider grip, which made it so much harder for me to get the timing right. And so I think I honestly just need to just do more reps of the wide grip, but I'll keep doing what I've been doing because I feel like it's actually better for explosiveness and not just to lift heavier weights. But yeah, I think this is it right here. I get it above my head, above my eye level, and I have the choice to get down and try and catch that thing in a deep squat, but it was just not good. And then here we have an interesting, I guess it wasn't that one. One of these I have a very interesting lift. Yep. So it goes over my head, can't straighten out my arms, so I put it onto my back. This gym does not allow dropping, so I want to try and get it over to my front side so that I don't have to drop it. And this is where it gets a little interesting because I'm stuck here and I can't drop the weights, but I'm not about to push this over my head and then let it fall on my head. So adrenaline kicks in and I push, goes over my head actually super easily. I don't know why it didn't the first time. I think I was just a little nervous. But yeah, it went over. And that's one of those things where it's like, for my situation, it could have been pretty dangerous. While it doesn't look very dangerous at all, if I would have, let 160 pounds fall on the crown of my head, it would not have been pretty. But yeah, I really tried to be safe, and that's just one of those examples where I was not safe. But, I'm a fan of not dropping the bar, so I kind of had to live with that. I had to keep going, even if that meant possibly, injuring myself. And then after that, I went into some box squats, and I was like, okay, let's see. I've done 365 or whatever, multiple reps, moving that weight fast, and so I have to go to 405. And this is 405 for a triple. Oh, yeah. Yeah, first time ever putting 405 on my back and squatting with it. And I used a belt, not super down for belts, but I was just like, why not? Because I'm at the end of this power phase. I don't think it's going to make much of an impact on what I'm doing. And then went into some lunges just for some hypertrophy, get that single leg work done, unilateral stuff so I can keep those hips strong and, just be a coordinated, balanced person. But yeah, going back to kind of the thoughts on belts or, straps or whatever, I feel like you're never going to get the benefit of a belt or straps. You can't make things easier when you're trying to do athletic things. When you're trying to do jumps, you don't get something that helps you brace your core. And when you are trying to do a sprint, you don't have something that helps you, I guess also brace your core. Like it really depends on how strong your core is or how strong your ankles, your knees, your hips, whatever, back are. And that's what really matters. And so I don't want to ever lose those abilities. Not that I will if I train with a belt, but I think it's a little more stunted. If my legs are getting so much stronger, but my core is not because I'm using a belt, it's just not ideal. And then since the sprint workout was pretty short, I had to give you guys some more video on the rest of usually what I do at the end of the workout. So I get hammies in and I get some calves. Decided not to film the second part of the calves because it's just, honestly, it's so boring watching me hold isos and slow eccentrics and concentrics for a minute and a half each set. So yeah, I had to show you guys some of this, and increased my hammy stuff, hammy development, and yeah, I feel like the volume of those are going up. I don't feel like I'm pulling my hamstrings, although they get pretty sore at the end of the workout. They're pretty healthy, and the shins were feeling super great too. So it's just kind of, I wanted you guys to see that I do this kind of stuff, and I make sure to make it a part of my workout pretty much. No, actually, just every single time. And even though I'm tired at the end of the workout after I just hit 405 for 3 or whatever, I still make an effort to do these because I think the hamstrings, especially for sprinting, is super important. And then also for just my quads, I think it's super important as well. Also, just look at the hamstring. Like, you can see it rolling up. Like, it looks so cool. But yeah, it's not tearing. Usually you see a bicep rolling up and it starts tearing. That's just the act of it flexing. But yeah, I would definitely recommend these. You have to try these. These actually kill your hamstrings. And yeah, most people, even this angle, cannot do it like without freaking out. So yeah, I finished off with these, and it was an overall great workout, but I am cooked now. Okay, anyway, peace, see ya.